Here we go. All right, brothers and sisters, we're back at it one more time. Face to face, whatever y'all want to call it. But proper greetings whenever you get here. I talk today because I have nothing else. I mean, not that I have nothing else to prove, but the more and more I show what I'm saying, the more and more I can't help but to say things like they are who we thought they were. And just to give full disclaimers and full disclosure to everyone, it's not that I don't know or don't understand the procedures of the United States military. It's not that I don't understand a sense of integrity, but we have to look at the situation a little more two eyes open, so that way, we can really understand what really took place here in Afghanistan, and just really why recently you've had these cats, like I said, coming back from Afghanistan. And we'll go as recently as last month when the white boy Patrick Byrne was arrested for the vicious murder of Sister Denise Smith. And for all intents and purposes, he had deployed to Afghanistan, was not successful, may have been very well aware of what was going on over there. Came here, got into a scuffle in a bar. Someone seemingly got the best of him with one hit, and he went and took out his frustrations on a little black woman. Now, this is why we thought that they are who we thought they were. You know what I'm saying? This is why they are who we know they are to be, is because I need y'all to look at Afghanistan. And I need you to picture Afghanistan being Compton or Detroit or Memphis, right? Or Philadelphia or Harlem. Can you dig what I'm saying, right? Virginia City, right? I need y'all to imagine that it's a Atlanta, it's a Mobile, right? It's a Tallahassee. You dig what I'm saying, right? It's a Omaha, right? Just give it your spot and let it be there. It can be Chicago for all you. I'm not saying for all I care, but just put it like this. Imagine when the CIA was bringing in crack cocaine for the very first time. That they were getting the cocaine from. They were what's the word I'm looking for? Just imagine the nations that they were getting the cocaine from, that they were brought back into those nations to be saved from black people who thought that they shouldn't have been there in the first place. And let me just use a prime example. Let's say it's not a group called the Crips or the Bloods. It's another group that seeks to take back their neighborhood, but with violent force. Now, obviously, who's backing this group is what people would want to know. But what if this group is just hardworking individuals who just pulled their money together, went and armed themselves, right? And then proceeded to take out trash as they saw fit. Now, we're talking about a 20-year operation, not a 400-year operation, right? That black people have been under siege since they've been here, since they touched down. And in this 20-year operation, they were able to flip people, so-called people who live in Afghanistan, and get them to turn and become traitors. Now, I need y'all to really get this. They would rather subdue, pursue, right, and try to accrue so-called justice for their allies, while the people who built the nation that put you in the very position that you're in, you won't even do right by them. I need y'all to really get this for a moment. Brother Andre brought it to my attention. I'm going to bring it to y'all's attention so that way y'all really think about this. They want you and me to feel as if the honor of this country is tainted. Okay, when did it ever have any honor? Tell me that, y'all. Somebody riddle me that. They are who we thought they were. They're cowards. They're nobodies. Scuttlebutt. Poop butt. Spineless. Straight trash. As they would say, pencil necked. That's who we're dealing with. They're garbage, they're trash, and they know it. And they've never been honorable. And they're talking about America's reputation. What reputation? The reputation where you oppress black people, go other places and play as if you're doing something that we know that you're not doing? You know, good afternoon, sister. I just think it's crazy that we're all in a position, we're all in a stance and in an area that it won't tell us what's going on. It won't even be honest with us, you know. And for some odd reason, it's just unfathomable to a brother like me that we're stuck in a recess where they want us to feel as if what happened to once again, I didn't go murder nobody in Afghanistan. I didn't lose any true, real friends right next to me in Afghanistan. When I say murder, I'm not talking about guys who got into firefights, who didn't want to be there in the first place, but this is where you got sent. So now I'm just going to have to hold it down till I go home. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about cats who literally went out of their way, caused problems, and killed individuals in cold blood where it is not justified. No matter how we perceive it, it can never be justified. And there is an innumerable number of deaths on the hands of those who consider themselves American. And the reason why I bring this to the forefront is because not just the CIA and MI6 and Mossad and the FSB and any other so-called intelligence gathering group who sends their own forward observers, their own operatives into the field to put together what you would call an analysis of the ever-changing situation, and it's just as things evolve, they give you information as things change. This is why having clear lines of communication that are encrypted or to some degree discreet are highly important. However, not to get carried away with any of clandestine operations, what it is this. You had warlords who were made by the CIA and the likes of different world governments who went over there and created children, okay? They are who we thought they were. The Taliban are well-trained and they've been well-funded for many years. And when I say well-trained, you guys got to understand, the Russians, for all intents and purposes, were trained by the Germans. And this goes back to World War I, where right after World War I, many German soldiers couldn't find work home, so they went and they joined the Red Army. Many of the tactics that they were taught back then are the tactics that they used in World War II going forward. This is what people don't understand. So, don't be so quick to assume that the Russians just didn't have enough. No, they had enough. But when the group that you're fighting against are several different groups, some of whom who understand your cultural makeup, so they know how to do certain things that you're not ready for, or that you'll respond a certain specific design way to. And until you realize that they're using your own self against you, you can't really counter it. And so, once again, you're talking about a group that was trained, not designately, but, heavily by, the CIA. So this is how they knew how to plant bombs, put them in certain places. They understood what your defense perimeter would be once you had like a casualty occur. They would make it to where the bombs are pressure plate detonated. So you could move around in this area and not set off the bomb, right? Because you might not give all the weight, you might not kick down enough dirt onto this pressure plate in order for it to go off. But somebody else may come along and do it. And once again, anyway, this is just me telling y'all how these are things that they told me when I was in the Marine Corps. They never told us the CIA taught them this. I always knew that the CIA taught the Mujahideen, the Taliban, whatever you want to call them. And so when you consider all this information, you have to say, well, first and foremost, you got beat by yourself. Right. Think about that just for half a moment. They literally lost to their own tactics. The same way that you would have a successful coup, this is what the Taliban's just initiated as soon as the Americans came and left. So once the Americans realized that they had done enough damage to their own nation through lithium, touchscreen, and the likes, and with the opium, obviously with the prescribed medication and then illicit street drugs, but they both should be considered the same thing. However, you have a situation where now the individuals who were involved in that, they don't feel like they're responsible. Right on. But they have to tell themselves that they really got beat by themselves. The American government has to know that they lost. They are who we thought they were, y'all. So the most rugged version of their self is too much for them. You dig what I'm saying? Their most trained version of themselves, which is the most disciplined, which is the one who didn't grow up with the Game Boy, right? He didn't grow up with the what's the word? What you call it? Touchscreen anything. Barely had internet. These are guys who literally just moved around and foraged in the mountains their whole life. So you have to look at their situation just a little different and say, okay, if this is the most rugged of them, then surely what we're seeing here, what they call the best trained, the best equipped, all that type of stuff for the U.S. Army, the U.S. military in general, whether it be the Marine Corps, the Air Force, the Navy, or the Coast Guard, National Guard included, reserves and all that stuff included, they are who we thought they were. By no stretch of the imagination are they not. We have to have, once again, two eyes wide open on this situation. This is why I'm giving you all this information just to take in and to look at it a little bit differently. See, like I said, there's cats who went over there who murdered for this government and had their friends murdered. Were not just killed, murdered. So they have mixed feelings. There's people who killed and had friends murdered. There's people who killed, had friends killed. There's people who killed and none of their people died. There's a bunch of different mediums. There's a bunch of different spectras or atmospheres or stratospheres that this situation behaves in. So you have to acknowledge each individual experience as a very valuable and unique experience. Having said that, the death of someone is no less tragic if they were fighting for a good cause or not and they lose their life. It's never a good thing to have to kill someone. It's just there are actions that the consequences call for the fate or or for this one to perish. Whereas there are other actions that people take it upon themselves to make someone to die. They are who we thought they were, y'all. The Russians are considered now the strongest power in what you believe to be Central Asia. But the thing about that is that just goes to show you how much of a military presence all the other countries have. Because for some odd reason, it doesn't occur to anyone that, once again, Pakistan, India, right, fighting each other all the time. But the thing is how can Russia really be considered the greatest or the strongest of them if we know that a place like India in particular actually exists, in the midst of all this drama? Not a knock on Russia. It's just one of those things where this is how they want you to see it. This is how they're going to paint the picture, even though India is as nuclear powered as China or as Russia. Right. This is what they don't follow what I'm saying. They are who we thought they were. They're cowards. They're uh, they're marauders by the night. You know, they don't have any strict ethos that they have to truly live by, which is why deny, deny, deny is a common spy ethos. It's a common intelligence agency ethos because they want you to believe that as long as they deny it and don't confirm it, that it's not true, or at least they have plausible deniability in their mind. That's called self-deception. See, even though agencies will tell you that they don't work in self-deception, they do, because they have to lie to themselves in order to do their job. Thank you very much. So they created the situation of the Taliban by arming and training one bin Laden. Now, what most people don't know about bin Laden, I want to say it was Cambridge. Pretty sure it's Cambridge. If it's not Cambridge, it's Oxford. But he went to one of those really nice schools over there in Europe. Got a what you call a formal education. He received one of those. So when you say, or when anybody says, well, the Taliban are just a terrorist group, well, how terroristic are they if they don't just blow up shit all over the earth all the time? And by definition, a terrorist is a group or an individual that works for a political gain. In the end of the definition, that's what they're working for. They have some sort of political goal that they're trying to achieve. So by that definition, the United States and every other government are terrorists based on how they conduct themselves. That's a shitty way of trying to explain a group that you're trying to delegitimize. But this is the problem. But that's the problem, though. They are who we thought they were. They're a byproduct of what they've been told to do for all these years. You don't think it was the CIA who told bin Laden to go into hiding and all that stuff? You guys don't think it was the CIA who told bin Laden, hey, we're going to make sure that we right the wrong and that we right the ship? Think about that for a second. Who else could have given them those assurances? But other than the same group that got him to where he got in the first place. I find it very hard to believe that grown men and grown women don't look for themselves and don't tell themselves, hey, this is what they asked for. They asked for a group that they trained and equipped, left to their own devices. So that means that their doctrine was never convoluted. So what they believe right now is what they believe they've always believed, even if that's not the case. Like I said, all these spy operatives leaving bastard children all throughout the so-called Middle East or Central Asia, whatever you want to call it. And they left these children there to grow up to become the same so-called terrorists that America's fighting against now. The same leaders of a lot of these groups. It's difficult to believe that, y'all. It's difficult to put that in my mind and make that the truth. There's other things that are worse than the truth, as far as how it affects them. Because of all the lies they've told, they could never keep up with, okay, if Al-Qaeda was working in Afghanistan and Afghanistan was a base where terrorists all met up and decided that they were going to take out these vicious attacks on the West, why didn't they attack places like Britain first, which they're much closer to? I need y'all to understand. Word? Why didn't they attack all those other places like France, Germany? Much closer, much easier to do that deed and be a lot more successful. And then when you do the investigating, most of the guys who were hijackers were Egyptians, and the Israeli government knew all about it. So we're being forced to pretty much believe whatever they tell us. And if you question it, that's just like people who don't want to get vaccinated. If you don't want to get vaccinated, all of a sudden you're an anti-vaxxer. But it just can't be that you make your own choice, right? So why can't we call homosexuals anti-lifers? Because their way of life doesn't produce life. You see what I'm saying? It's just weird how they can create what they want to create and try to impose it upon you. And what they want you to believe in Afghanistan is that the good guys went to go fight the bad guys. And ultimately, the bad guys, right, took over because the good guys just didn't have the spine to fight and stand up. But there's something wrong with that image, because just like Brother Wickham said, why won't y'all show us some of the joyful Afghanis who are not terrified, but not trembling, you know, but they have a great attitude, and they're almost celebrating or festive because they've seen or accomplished a victory. You see what I'm saying? So not only did they, how many of these people do you think didn't take up and bear arms against America, who lost family members due to faulty operations by special operators, by regular infantry soldiers, artillery, mortarmen, tank crewmen, and the like, or just regular what you would call a provisional rifle squad or rifle team? Follow what I'm saying. Doesn't matter the branch of the military, the airstrikes and all that stuff, right? They lost people. How many of them didn't take up arms? Come on, think about this for a second. Why would they not be happy to see the Americans forced out that way? And why would they not be happy to see some of the individuals who caused for those airstrikes, who caused for those vicious assaults on those villages to take place, to see them get their righteous punishment? I need y'all to really put that in your minds for a second. Now let's get back to crack cocaine, because we'll see how much they keep up when they watch it, y'all. What they're doing to the Afghanis who tried to escape is the equivalent if you rewarded everyone who sold crack and illicit. I'm talking about PCP, right? You know, wet. The shit that had niggas going crazy out there in the streets. If they airlifted these niggas out those neighborhoods and flew them to countries where they would be safe from all the other black people, if black people so chose to stand up and rise up against them, how would y'all feel then? Would y'all feel like that was patriotic? Or would you feel like that's some fucking bullshit? Okay, then. That's what I'm talking about. Those Afghanis are the equivalent of cats bringing in crack and heroin and prostitution and murder and all kinds of other. If you want to throw marijuana in there, throw the chronic in there. I don't care. And like, it's not like niggas ain't been killed over a dime bag before. My point being this. Would you feel as if it was patriotic to airlift all those deadbeat ass niggas about their neighborhoods that they caused all that death and destruction in? Save because they did it on behalf of the United States government. Just because the nigga who sells crack doesn't have a badge of the DEA, he might as well be DEA. Undercover all the way. You all the way in the hood and don't even realize that you work for the federal government. Right. Because if you got illicit drugs like that in your hands, no matter what you think, the federal government has something to do with that shit being there. Facts. So you're a unpaid, undocumented worker for the US government and don't think you are. See, think about that for a second. And these Afghanis are no different. Only they got paid to do their dirt to their people. That's the difference. But you do have a such thing as a paid informant who does the same fucking damage. And for some odd reason, nobody's looking at these Afghanis like straight up traitors to their people, to their neighborhoods, to their province, all those things. And brought death and destruction. Think about that for half a second. And they want me and you to sit around and act like it's our job to put the cape on for motherfuckers who literally help get people who look just like us in those countries killed. That's bullshit. I'm not hearing that. I'm not feeling that. So they are who we thought they were. They're the worst of the worst. For anybody that deployed to Afghanistan and got blood on their hands, I ask you to repent, brothers and sisters. It's not a demand, that's a request, a peaceable request, because only you know if you mean it. I want you to ask yourself, all the suffering that you witnessed in a country like that, was it worth to see what the government here is doing now? All the stress fractures, all the sand in your fucking face, right on, sweating and the sweat all over. It just feels like there's mud on your body because you've been out there all day, been getting shot at all day, ain't ate all day, having to kick somebody out their house so that way you can try to be in safety, just for the house to come up under siege. Come on, it's real life. This shit happened. So I feel for my brothers and my sisters. Excuse that. I feel for my brothers and my sisters who don't have the luxury of being able to shake those memories. But I speak these words to you so that way you know that it's not on you to feel that way. Abdicate yourself from those feelings. Release yourself from those feelings, because at this point, the same government that sent you there, that asked you to shed blood on their behalf, has willfully withdrawn their presence and has abandoned their own people, whom they consider Americans, in that same such country. They are who we thought they were. And they're supposed to be apex predators, no known predators. I'm going to never let them live that down. When y'all get the time later on, and you get bored or whatever, and you come back to this video again, those links are to 3, I won't say important, but pertinent information articles. One of them is an old article about Sister Denise Smith and her coward murderer, who was an Army Ranger who was deployed to Afghanistan, the said country that we're speaking on, and he took out and vented his anger and his frustration on that black woman. He won't be the last of his kind. Think about that. He won't be the last of his kind. To come here and take out their frustrations on people who, I won't say look like the Afghanis, but they have met black Afghanis who look just like me and you, and they feel some type of way. Because they feel like, well, those sad niggas is laughing. Well, I'm going to take it out on this nigga. Put that in your heads. Don't forget that. It's on you to be vigilant, to protect yourselves. I didn't say overzealous. I said vigilant. The zeal will come when you are justified to protect yourself. And you don't need my permission. You don't need anyone's permission. But you need to be vindicated to do someone harm. Because whether they understand or not, you understand why you done what you done. Another article in there is about, like I said, how Russia is considered top dog now in Central Asia. You'll have to read that yourself and come to your own conclusions, but refer back to my old Rick works and just think about all this stuff before it even happened. I've been talking about Rick way before Afghanistan. Way before Afghanistan fell to the Taliban, I've been talking about Rick. Follow me. And then the other article is Floyd Ray Roseberry, the guy who got caught up today at the Capitol, right, at the Congress, the Library of Congress, and said that he had a bomb, right? That other one's about him. And the article didn't disclose whether or not he was a U.S. Army Ranger veteran. The reason why I say that is because I watched the live stream when it first took place, and I heard somebody say, yeah, we've confirmed he's a veteran. And the deputy, I mean, not the deputy, but the chief of the Capitol Police didn't want to comment on the situation. I just want y'all to understand the dude is 48 years old. 10 years ago, he was 38. He could have easily fought in Afghanistan. 20 years ago, he was 28. He could have easily been in Afghanistan. if he was anything that they're saying that he was. This is a true fact, y'all. So we need to start looking at these situations both eyes wide open. We got to see it for what it is, because it's going to get dangerous. It's going to get real dangerous. They're sending home cats who, once again, they lost whatever degree of from killed to murdered to justified to unjustified, right? All that, to scathed or unscathed. Yo, you're going to have a lot of cats coming back here feeling some type of way. You're going to have a lot of cats coming back here feeling some type of way. You're going to have a lot of these dudes talking about they didn't go over there to fight for motherfuckers to be talking about Black Lives Matter. My squad leader was black. He died for me, looking ass dudes. You guys got to understand. It's not easy being the bearer of bad news or any news that is not favorable to survival. But people got to start recognizing that these cats are going to come back trying to do shit. They are who we thought they were. They're cowards. Remind y'all of Patrick Burns. He beat that sister to death with her own keys. Y'all, she had a basic security job where the probably zero funk, almost never at her job until that happened. He had just returned from Afghanistan. I need y'all to put this stuff in your heads. It's real. I'm not talking about no silly ass race wars. I'm talking about individuals who feel as if they didn't get the satisfaction of closure. Do y'all get what I'm saying? While I eat this cookie, does anybody understand me? They got no closure. They're going to be looking for closure, y'all. They're going to be looking for it. They didn't get it over there. They're forced to come back to America. They're going to be looking for closure between one of these two mediums. It has to happen. It has to happen. Black people, all I can say is, man, is just be careful, because all these natural disasters, I'm praying for my brothers and my sisters on the Eastern Seaboard, you know, in particular the Smith family and Brother Michael Woodard, you know. I pray that y'all are going to be okay. Pray that y'all all right. Hope that y'all ain't part of none of that flash flood and nonsense. Hope you was able to get inland before it got too bad, you know. I'm just praying for my people, man, because it's going to get crazy. Appreciate y'all. It's just trying to just be thoughtful, sister, you know, and you know, just trying to just, you know, to get outside myself, because everybody has it hard. Everybody does. What's popping, Leonard Yuda? Shalom, brother. Shalom. Peace. Yeah, bro. Yes, sisters. I just want y'all to see that there's a lot going. There's a lot of moving pieces, and if I documented every little thing, I wouldn't be able to go get a regular job again. It's already a job enough to do the research and to try to present the information in a conducive manner that I believe our people will understand from all mediums and ranges of life and what we believe to be education. I try to show the information the best way I can, and what I can't show, I just speak on. And I don't try to talk above anybody. I try to speak to what my level is, and then break down my own words if I have to, if I feel like I said something that may have confused anyone. But like I've just been saying is They're looking for closure. The natural thing for them to do is going to be to try to find some sort of peace of mind and justification as to what they did, why they went over there. And if they have to tell themselves that Black Lives Matter is nothing more than the Taliban, it's nothing more than liberal bullshit that is the reason why they lost the war in the first place, whatever excuse they're going to make up, as opposed to the fact that they should have just never been there in the first place, right? And being able to accept that and man up and woman up and move on with what's left with the rest of their lives, they're not going to do that. Word, it's going to get ugly, y'all. It's going to get ugly. And who are they going to blame? They pretty much blame black people. They gave them credit, but they blamed them at the same time when they said that y'all are the reason why Joe Biden got to go to the White House. So a bunch of these angry soldiers and angry whatevers, we got to start. Listen, they are who we thought they were, y'all. I didn't find the one article. I'll have to look it up on my other laptop, and we'll get it popping. I'll have to make a little video about it. It's talking about the Tulsa, Oklahoma survivors want the Department of Justice to open up an investigation on the mass graves to actually try to uncover them. I need y'all to understand this. Where everything is headed is going to be so hectic, right? Because you're going to have one side of, obviously, black people we want those type of things to be unearthed, and we want them to be uncovered, and but we also know, the realest of us also know, that we could never get true justice, because real justice is blood for blood. And because they're not even willing to force charges on the descendants of the perpetrators of these great atrocities and these great crimes, then then the idea of justice to them is paying money for blood. That's the definition of blood money. It's not just money that has blood on it. It's actual paying for someone to die, or paying to compensate you for their death. However you want to look at that. And so there can't be justice for that situation if you're willing to tell me that we can't bring charges upon, once again, the descendants of the perpetrators of these crimes. They have to be tried as a murderer. They have to be. I can't figure in my mind what would drive grown Army veterans to go, some of them probably Navy, but for the most part Army. I can't think of what would drive grown Army veterans who just went across the seas to fight against, the last king of Germany, the Kaiser, and extinguish his fire, just to come home to be put in a situation where, for all intents and purposes, if they unleash the full potential of their armada, of their arsenal on you, you can't survive. So why would they choose death? Something about the situation, they've told us, is not right. And they want me and you to believe that by just simply doing an investigation, the numbers that have been greatly underscored to tell us that only 300 people died during the Tulsa race massacre is a complete disrespect to all intelligence. They probably killed over 1,000 black people that day. But they don't have the heart to tell me and you, we killed 1,000 of your people or better, for what would be concluded as absolutely nothing. Because you were going to hang a young black dude who it's been speculated that he was in a physical, intimate relationship with the young white lady who was in the elevator with him. Speculated even more that they moved up north to Detroit, where there's plenty of half-breeds running around until this day, quarter breeds and the like. My point is this. You want me, my brothers and my sisters, and all that will come after us, to say that justice is simply investigating what took place and not saying that we have to bring upon physical charges on the descendants of these perpetrators. It must happen. That's the only justice there can be. There is no statute of limitation on murder. The tacit understanding that if they tried to cover up the massacre, that their entire families knew about the massacre. There would be no need for a cover up if nobody knew. Thank you. There would be no need for a cover up if nobody knew. But they all knew what they done. So therefore, they tried to conceal the truth for decades and decades. And this is why their progeny, their descendants, must be charged as the actual perpetrators themselves by not coming forth with evidence, okay, and with information that would otherwise show that wrongdoing was done on a certain party's behalf. That's it, that's all. Look, sister, I had a conversation with myself earlier. I said, they want us to pay for the sins of our fathers, but what would be the consequence of them paying for the sins of their fathers? You see what I'm saying? Like, what would be the equivalent of what they've done to us that we know that they've done to us? It's not conjecture. It's not opinion. It's just the facts. And people don't want to hear this, and I don't want to get black people riled up. I don't want y'all to get riled up and go outside and punch a white person in the eye for nothing. A little Gentile dude, a little Gentile chick. That's not what I'm here for. But I'm here to make sure that y'all don't ever forget that they want you to put the cape on for those who are part of the reason why your communities are messed up. If there's black people that you know who are doing heroin, you can point fingers right at the Afghanis for that. They've been getting Afghan dope over here since the days of Fard Muhammad. Wally D. Fard, aka the founder of the NOI. They won't tell you that. And he's one of the reasons why black people was hooked way back in the early days to that shit. Come on. You only have so many plugs. You only have so many suppliers for it. How do you think the NOI knew where to go to kill off a whole bunch of those heroin dealers and to control the flow so that way they could get a piece of it again? Unless you set them up in those places. Okay. Listen, y'all. It's deeper than y'all think. It's bigger than y'all think. Word? I don't have to feel nothing for the Afghanis. Want to know why? Because I know that piece of information right there. And ain't nobody going to tell me, oh, Meech, that happened 100 years ago. So what? Niggas is still hooked, addicted to opiates and opium to this day. Via all the different avenues it can be used. Whether it's in a pill form, whether it's in a powder form, whether it's in a semi-solid form, or even sometimes even liquid. So follow what I'm saying. How can I feel bad for a group that sent the same dope to China years ago, and with the same dope, the Chinese were able to be duped out of all their silver by the Brits and the English? How can I feel bad? This is a full circle. This is full circle coming back. How can I feel bad because the Americans are afraid of the Chinese sending tons of opium to the south of the border and then sneaking it up and then purposely allowing for the lesser cargo to be pulled off, which is the cocaine and the marijuana? Think about that. So, as I asked earlier, who would be comfortable with guys who sell crack and heroin and shit like that in the neighborhood being given full immunity by the United States government? Because out of nowhere, they're like, all these guys work for us. We're flying them out of the U.S. because black people are taking back over their neighborhoods. It'll never happen because, niggas don't have no backbone. Not enough of us. And the ones who do will get killed or will be locked up in the effort of trying to make something like that happen. That's why I say to stay your hand and stand back. But for the most part, there is no backbone in the black neighborhood. There's not. This is why all these things are able to take place and to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because the same mother that they believe loves her child is looking on her child with an evil fucking eye. She that is tender among her people, and he that is tender among his people. They're both doing the same thing. Got an evil eye on their child. This is why they don't mind seeing their children die. That's why they don't mind all that chaos and confusion. I won't get too carried away in that, but I just want y'all to understand and know that it's bigger when you apply all that you know to something and you start to realize how great the situation truly is. It's undeniable fact sometimes. You're like, damn, this shit is what's really happening. And we can't even avoid it because we've been taught to think a certain way, or the conditioning that we believe in is so true to us that we don't believe it's anything else. It can only be this one thing. And this is why we're here. Because you got dudes who are like literally the equivalent to an Afghan interpreter to the U.S. Army in their neighborhoods. Only they have immunity to do this. You have generations of families who all they've ever done is do illicit criminal activity. They don't want to work for a living. Think about that. You have cats who are literally coming from like 50 years of niggas just selling dope in their family, and that's all they do is sell dope. They go to prison, they get out, they put babies in other men's women, right on, they get killed. Those children grow up, blah, 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 blah. Same thing is just repeating itself. 50, 60 years of that kind of nonsense and that kind of fuckery. Don't nobody want to hear that. That's way too much to hear. But these niggas who are, once again, these same type of actors who were in Afghanistan have been in black neighborhoods for so long that this is why I can't feel nothing for the Afghanis. Not like that. Because they called out upon themselves. They should have never helped no Americans out for a paycheck. I need y'all to understand this. For a paycheck, they turned on their own. You guys got to realize this. All these cats who were trying to get out could have got out of their country a year ago. Could have been saving up. It's not like they just became an interpreter yesterday, y'all. These are cats who've been interpreting for the better part of 15, 20 years. Some of them, the ones who lived, most of them have been an interpreter for way longer than 5 years. You dig what I'm saying? Right. If they were signing deals with the Taliban a year ago, talking about their withdrawing, most of these interpreters are not, once again, they're not brand new to the game. It's no different than it is in black neighborhoods. These are cats who've been around. They should know already you don't do that to your own people. But they don't care. Because they figure if they don't do it, somebody else will. So this is the same mentality those interpreters have. Oh, if I don't interpret, no one will. No, somebody else will get the money. But maybe they came from a village where they were the only one who was seen as a traitor. So everybody knows what you look like. They've been telling the Taliban the whole time. They done moved your ass into the city of Kabul to keep you away from all that shit. They done moved your wife and your children away. But your father and your mother stay back. Even though they curse you, the Taliban still might kill them. See what I'm saying? So it's like, but there are no black versions of the Taliban because U.S. government ain't never trained no hood niggas. You understand that? Like, Like not directly. We're not talking like no CIA agents went to the hood and was like, bro, we're gonna open up boot camps to start training your gang members. This is what the CIA did for so-called Al Qaeda, so-called ISIS, and the so-called Taliban. Really just the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. Follow what I'm saying, y'all. Black people had to go to the armed forces, learn these skills. They might have had a crazy uncle, or their daddy was crazy, or they the crazy one, right? Came back and showed everybody how to shoot guns, showed everybody how to clear a room, showed everybody how to do all this shit, right? And if they get lucky, nigga, I'll show you how to fall down a firing pin just enough to make your gun fully automatic, shit like that, right? Anyway, little basic things. Not basic to the regular person, but basic to somebody who can do it. And this is how it happened in the black neighborhoods. But those kind of brothers were either literally pulled out by the US government by hook or by crook. So either they were offered missions to go other places, or they would kill these niggas. Or these brothers would literally just leave these places because what they were trying to show the brothers how to do, they just started using on one another. They're like, we're supposed to be doing this to the police. We're supposed to be doing this to cats that are actually oppressing us. This shit is backwards. See what I'm saying? So this is why it's funny that people talk about, paid informants, but y'all don't realize the worst kind of informant is a paid informant who the state puts there, i.e. somebody undercover. Because those are the first cats to bring you just enough ways to destroy yourself, but not enough to fix you. Those are the ones. Those are the ones to bring you just enough ways. Okay? Not enough to fix you, but just enough to destroy you. Listen, man, these dudes are exactly who we thought they were. We thought they were the devil. They showed that they were the devil. You had cats who literally put their lives on the line just trying to help the United States government. And now they cooked. Do I feel bad for them? No. Because like I said, it would be no different than somebody who sells crack in the hood trying to get out of jail free card after destroying families. It's no different. It's the same exact thing. People are like, why do you repeat yourself? It's so that way I can stress the moment. Because right now, this moment is not to be overlooked or underrated. As we slowly inch our way out of the year of 2021, so-called, and come into the year of 2022, does 2024 look so bad of a year for these cats to say, you know what, we just don't care no more, or maybe to have done just enough to force the hand of the heavens to get the God of glory involved? Because the more I see it, the more I'm like, I don't know how much longer they can keep this up, y'all. Wailing and the gnashing of the teeth. It's going to be a crazy day when everything just totally folds up and falls apart. And you got a lot of these cats out here who are living in this fake world. Once again, they can feel the most. Once again, they call it turpid something. You know what I'm saying turpitude, which you can't really believe what they say. Anything that comes from so-called Middle French, you have to question. Anyway, but it means vile or base. And I can't help but to believe that if these individuals are engaged in vile and base activities, that the worst is coming. Right on? Something not good has to be coming, y'all. We're not talking about a natural disaster. We're talking about something that they force that makes the people to feel as if there's no hope. Now, Their plan, hopefully to them, I already see their plan, is to try to confuse our minds into believing that we can rebuild our population or our people, or we can pretty much go from where we're at that point. We'll be okay. But we won't. The God of glory didn't ask for me or you to lay down in this land. See, he tells us what's going to happen to us. And the worst thing that he says is that I have stricken thee with madness, blindness, and madness, insanity, and astonishment of the mind. So that means that you're mad, you're crazy, and you're in awe all at once in some cases. This is why black people are so easily impressed by things that don't really even matter. Just trying to point it out. This is why simple things please us, though, at the same time. This is why many of us don't question what we hear. I would rather someone challenge what I'm saying in a very healthy manner. Challenge what I'm saying. But if, once again, if it come out the scripture, you're not challenging me now. Now you're challenging the God of glory. Don't challenge me, because you're not going to win that battle. Word? Because if I didn't win that battle, what makes me think that somebody who is getting it from me is going to win that battle? Word? And I'm talking about things that it took me a long time to accept, y'all. I didn't just overnight accept it. I had to, like, okay, I can't do what I want to do. Right. It took me reading about people getting killed over not wanting to eat pork for me to be like, yeah, I'm never eating that again. This is the true story. Word? Not because, I read it and Moses said it. No, because I read it in the Apocrypha again, and there was people who got killed for not wanting to eat swine's flesh. And I'm like, wow, I'm never eating that shit again. You would kill somebody for not eating it? I can't eat that. Sorry. It's that vile, it's that bad, but this is who we thought they were. You understand what I'm saying? This is them. This is who we actually think they are. Try to force something onto us that's not our way. And don't worry, there's black people who were like that, who were just as messed up like that, right? But there's less who were like that. Especially this day, because they don't have any power to force anything onto anyone. Brothers and sisters, before I get ready to head out in this next few minutes, I just, because I didn't need a whole bunch of time to stress what's going on right now. I just need to talk about it and get it off my chest, because it's bothering me. One moment. So what happens when there's somebody like Doucheberry, right? Floyd Ray Doucheberry. What happens when one of those motherfuckers pull up and they decided they want to blow up a black church? Don't warn nobody. Just set the charges and wait till niggas is in the building and blow the bitch up, trying to kill all of us. I don't go to church, but I'm pretty sure some of us know black people who do, and go fairly steadily. I won't call it religiously, but they go fairly steadily. Think about that. Right. See, that's deep, isn't it? Think about the crazy white boy who killed the brother who was the sheriff and the sister who was the Air Force veteran. Right? There's no way those are standalone events. Y'all, I need y'all to really put this in your head. Those are not standalone events. And the more soldiers they bring home, and the more disgruntled they become with the system, and the more angry that they become at the overall civilian populace, as they would as they would explain it. They're going to say that in their minds, the true patriots, who are these racist white bastards, they're going to say that they are the ones who've been victimized, and that blacks should be happy that they're not even in fucking slavery anymore, type of shit. They're going to want to discount all the suffering, and the ones who don't want to discount the suffering are going to be seen as race traitors. It's coming. It's coming. All this and all this inclusiveness and all that shit, it has a cap. You see? It has a cap for that. There's a literal limit they're gonna take for that. And then what's gonna stop? Once again, there are white dudes who own several fully automatic weapons. Several, more than one, legally, with silencers or suppressors, legally. The onesies and twosies of black people who own weapons like that is so minuscule. And then some of them who own them don't have the proper training and etiquette to handle the weapon in a righteous manner. That's deep, ain't it? And they think they can go toe to toe with these devils, y'all. You got niggas who's talking about pull up summer, and the only shit they done pulled up to is the Maldives and Dubai. Okay? They ain't pulled up on shit else. These niggas pulled up on islands. Okay? Sucking a mojito down while they're telling you about how hard it is. The battle against white supremacy is so hard while this nigga's in a foreign fucking land. Please. Only reason why the nigga went there is because of some shit I said. That's a fact. That's not no cap, Jack. That's all facts. It's all truth. Based on something that I said about a certain type of bloodline being in a certain type of area, this individual went and got their ass up and had to go see for themselves. And once they were confirmed that the things that I was saying to be true and not untrue, now they're back home. That's the facts. See, whether anybody believes it or not, U.S. government, Russian government, Chinese government, whoever, I'm on more than one dossier, y'all. I'm on more than one. Like my brother said, I won't say no names, but JP Hope was saying, all black people are on the terrorist watch list. And that's a fact. But some of them, they got pegged just a little bit, like, make sure you keep an eye on that one. Make sure they gain no significant following. Make sure none of this ever happens for them, because if they do, we'll have to do something to them. It's a must. We can't allow for this kind of individual to be speaking and have any sort of number of their people ever hear them, because the level of alertness that they're going to practice, even if it's just for 10 minutes after hearing it, 10 hours, 10 days, 10 weeks, 10 years, the level of alertness he may peak out of some of these people is not what we want from them. You should be watching white folks when they're around you. You have no reason to trust them. Just like you don't trust niggas. I don't know why you think the white folks won't do it to you. Right. So the same weariness you have with brothers and sisters, you need to practice with motherfuckers who have proven to you that they are who we thought they were. Can y'all hear me? That's what I'm saying. I'll be damned if I mean mug a brother and don't mean mug a white boy. I'll be damned. But how about I save all that energy just for those who don't look like me, until those who look like me act like they want that kind of energy? Right. Most sensible thing to do. But that's too much to ask for. You're asking for a momentary peace where at least when I walk by my brother or my sister, I know in this 4 seconds or this 3 seconds of our interaction, it's all peace. It's all good. Even if we know once this interaction is over with, it's back to the real world where anything can happen at any moment. But while I deal with you, I should deal with you peaceably, the best that I can. There is no peace. So why not be peaceable? Can you hear me? There is no peace. So why not be peaceable? That's why people lose every day, because they're willing to go and show up, do great bodily harm and violence to someone who looks just like them. And then when an individual who looks nothing like them gives them great reason and charge to want to do them bodily harm, they do no thing. In fact, they tell them it's okay and I forgive you. How about I'll forgive you when you're in the dirt and dead? How about that? When you're underneath my feet permanently, I'll forgive you. That's all the forgiveness I got for them. Ain't no, listen, man, don't get me started. There ain't no hugs and kisses in here. Okay? We ain't French or Italian. We ain't none of that. We ain't all in the mouth and shit. Grown ass men looking like faggots. None of that over here. Niggas kissing on other dudes' wives like they have orgies or something. This shit is weird. Okay? There ain't no hugs and kisses over here. I love my people. It's all love. Right on? But I can love y'all and show you that I can do things and show you that I love you and not be a fucking weirdo. There's niggas who want everything y'all got. Everything y'all got, they want it from you. All I'm asking for is a moment of attention so that way it's brought to your mind some of these things that may escape it on the daily because no one else wants to bring it to your attention. And you may not have time to delve into the things that I delve into. You may actually have a family that you're responsible for that takes up that time and that attention. I don't have that responsibility, so therefore I can place that that intrigue and that curiosity, not even a burden, but I can put that work on myself. Right on? I'll wear the yoke of that because that's not a big deal. But what I don't want to go through is putting out the information. And then, brothers and sisters, we all know there are a many who love to come here after the fact and during the fact. And they like to take from this and they like to put it into their own little things. So that way they can do what they do. And a lot of them have a much more successful YouTube channel. Successful being more viewers, more subscribers, right? So, and that matters as far as YouTube success. But my real life success, I feel like, is greater than all of theirs because I'm able to speak with brothers and sisters personally and, connect with them and talk with them, even if it's just through an email and really get to hear what they want to know, really get to see what they want to see. I do have some stuff in the works for y'all. That's totally Bible stuff, all biblical. I want to get to the end of certain things like that. But right now we have to focus on what's happening on this earth physical plane level, because if we don't worry about this, it'll get us in the end. It'll bite us in the end. And I care about all of you being able to see what I'm seeing. I see a group of traitors who, by another group of traitors and betrayers of the civilization or the populace that allowed them to flourish, want to be rescued from the folly that they created. That's not our job. That's not your job. That's not my job. Our job is to stand out the way. My job is to stand out the way. Your job is to stand out the way and allow for those who have created this mess to clean it up themselves. They want to make a mockery out of life. Once again, they will call you an anti-vaxxer if you don't want the vaccination, but don't call or consider homosexuals anti-lifers. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I don't want to hear about adoption because those babies are here from a hetero reunion. So not only are we living in crazy days, days of Noah type stuff where men want to get pregnant, don't think they weren't trying to do that in the days of Noah. They were. We're living in a time where if you have a choice that is the antithesis to what they want you to do, you are all of a sudden public enemy number one. You're the villain. Now you can still scream nigger at the top of your lungs as a white dude and don't get your whole head took off by another white person. That's how I know that this country ain't changed. Or have I seen white dudes dust up other white boys out here? Yeah, I've seen that shit. But I'm talking about the general number of them. They don't just knock each other's teeth out when they say that word. They might say, hey, don't say that. They might do some weak shit, but they don't knock each other smooth the fuck out. Black people will be ready to kill one another for certain connotations used on another group because a brother's like, hey, don't say that about them if we don't want them saying this about us. And niggas are so stubborn and so iron-willed, they'll to the death over some shit that ain't got nothing to do with their black asses. They're ready to go. White folks, not so much. So stand to the side. Just like they act like, you know, your issue is not their issue. Just the same way they act like that, treat them the fucking same. It's not your problem. It's their problem. Word? Because they're not knocking each other's senses loose, knocking teeth out, and slapping taste buds out of motherfuckers' mouths whenever they say something crooked and sideways. And that goes for any other so-called race that ain't black that want to call somebody a nigger. They ain't out there in the street punching each other's lights out, talking about he said the N-word. So I two-pieced him. It's not happening. So get out the way, black people. As I leave and I head out, get out the way, stand out the way. Because they are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. They think they're apex predators. They think they're Greeks and Romans and Egyptians. They think they're Babylonians. We thought that they are who we thought they were, though. Nothing more than a monster straight from the bowels of the earth and from the depths of caves. With no good sense. And they show it to you every single day. Brothers and sisters, get out of their way. What's coming to this land is nothing pretty. What's coming to coming soon to a theater near you is not pretty. It's not. You know, January is only the 10th month of the year, right? You guys do realize that, right? That if April's the real first month of the year, we're only into the 4th month of the year. Y'all realize that, right? Talking about the real year, the Enoch year. You do realize we have less than 500 days, don't you? Okay. Brothers and sisters, I salute you. I'm talking about my countdown. Let's see if we make it. Let's see if we get all the way through next year into 2023. Let's see. I got to see it. I've got to see it. Because every day it just gets juicier and juicier and juicier. And all it takes is someone to do the wrong thing. We leave on this note. The last day on the earth will begin at the twilight of the day, and the skies will be purple. And from sun up to sundown, there will be unceasing bloodshed.